Okay, we are live. Yay!
Yay!
Hi, everyone. Happy Black Friday.
Yes.
We are Pure Fandom. It's a website where pop culture geeks and nerds can read recaps, react to TV shows and movies in near real time, watch Comic-Con interviews, engage in discussion, and play in all the fandoms they're involved in. This is our third live panel discussion, which is kind of crazy. Previously, a few fandomers and I got together to discuss Rogue One, Wonder Woman, and most recently, Spider-Man Homecoming. Today, we will be discussing Taika Waititi's Thor Ragnarok, which hits theaters November 3rd, 2017. I'm Jasmine, and I've got Meg and Steve with me. Before we get into the real meat of the discussion, though, I thought we might introduce ourselves and briefly defend our favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. So I'll start. I'm Jasmine. I've been in a couple of these live streams before, so I feel like my spiel has been heard a little bit too many times. But anyway, the basics. I live in Chicago. I work at a tech company downtown in the Loop. I survive off coffee, beer, and deep dish pizza, which is very stereotypical, but true. So, and I'm slowly converting my wardrobe into a peak 90s wardrobe. Like I have like the Etsy vintage jeans and like everything is great. Also, I geeked out really, really hard over Thor Ragnarok because my last semester in college, I took a Viking North mythology course because just like I need credit hours, let's do something fun. And we talked about our very first class, we talked about Ragnarok. And I was like, yes, bring back memories. um, but my favorite MCU movie, honestly, is still Captain America, the First Avenger. My weakness is origin stories, especially if they're done well, and then add in an underdog storyline and a quasi Clark Kent character. And Steve Rogers, I love him. He's like an earnest do-gooder with a rebellious streak, and he'll go to the ends of the world for Bucky, which is an issue, but still, I love him.
Yeah. Still.
Mm-hmm. I love Bucky. Yeah. He just wants his plums. I'm Meg. I'm a senior editor at Pure Fandom, and I covered R.I.P. Teen Wolf, which is on no more. And I do Riverdale and sometimes Jane the Virgin when I'm home on Fridays, which has not been very good. And no, the show's been really good. Me being home on Fridays has not been good. And then I'm going to cover Scream when that's on MTV. So I'm looking forward to that, even though I'm like the biggest one ever. And I just write random here's and there's. And as far as my favorite Marvel movie, it would have been probably Deadpool for a while, but I think out just because I loved it so much and it was so much fun, and Jeff Goldblum is a god. And the music. I loved the music choices in this movie. And for me, that is like such a strong pull for anything that I love. So I'm going to have to go with Thor. But I also love Bucky. And he deserves the world. But yeah, that's, kind of me. And then I'm sure you've heard me talk about my cats, which are around and they're waiting. Like they're going to be here soon. And I have 2 kids. I write books and during the day for a large corporation in the legal department, which is as fun as that sounds. And when I'm not doing that, then I'm watching TV, drinking lots of coffee, and then sometimes beer on these actual hangouts. But it's a little too early for that, thankfully. But yeah.
Only a little, though.
Just a little, like I was watching the clock.
Yeah. We'll see how long it goes. Cool. So I'm Steve. I do movie reviews for Pure Fandom. I also do Westworld recaps, and I do recaps for Legion. So I do a lot. It's mostly movie stuff. I do a trailer post every now and then as well to let people know what the latest and greatest trailers are that came out from the previous week. So a little bit of that, a little bit of this. As far as real life stuff, I do project management online for an online company. And then I also enjoy, obviously, TV, movies. Pretty much will watch anything that's new, especially on HBO, Showtime, those type of shows. I always give those a chance. Do a lot of movie screeners. So I've seen a bunch of movies that have come out this year and in the past 6 months, especially. As far as my favorite Marvel movie, I'm more of the comedy guy. So I like the rather than like the origin stories or the other movies like that. I like the comedy ones that are also Marvel movies. So Deadpool was a great one. I think my favorite is Guardians of the Galaxy. just because it's a perfect mix of, I think, the Marvel Universe and mixing in the comedy aspects of things as well. So definitely Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I would put Guardians of the Galaxy 2 on the same level as well, but I think I like the first one just a little bit more because it was, for me, a little unexpected, and I really enjoyed it the first time that I watched it, so I really liked it. And then obviously Thor kind of falls into the same category as well, where there was a lot of comedy involved with the director being who he is, and then there was just a bunch of jokes throughout. So I really enjoyed it, and that's why I'm kind of on this thing myself.
Yeah, awesome. Woo! Okay, so we will start our discussion. As always, spoilers galore. If you haven't seen the film yet, which is why it's been out for like a couple weeks now, go watch it, and then come back and watch the recorded version. And let me sneeze. Oh my gosh.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
We're live, y'all.
Right? Yeah, this is real. It's real. Okay, but good segue. Okay, cool. So we'll talk about our overall impressions of the movies, things we liked, didn't like, and that includes favorite characters, favorite scenes, least favorite scenes. Yeah. All right. So I'll start off, and then we'll kind of like bounce between the three of us. But yeah, so my favorite character, honestly, was Thor. I've always thought Chris Hemsworth was a good-looking man, but he's always been kind of like there. I definitely liked him in fanfic and just stuff a lot better than in the actual movies. So it was like really fun. And then obviously like Valkyrie was super awesome. Her entrance was everything. Her falling off the side of the ship holding a beer was pretty much me in every social setting. So it's good. But yeah, what about you two?
I loved Korg. I thought he was a big rock guy. I thought he was absolutely hilarious in an already hilarious movie. Every character was funny, but just like he was so very random and didn't quite fit with what was going on. I think that's what made him funnier. And then him carrying around his dead friend. Like he's like, oh, he died, but I thought he'd want to be here.
Yeah.
Like it was hilarious, and it was just like so lighthearted. And even though like Thor had been up until that point when he was like in that, I don't know, jail cell or wherever they were keeping him before the big fight, like that could have been like the downer part of the movie where it was like, oh man, this really sucks. And he's just like, hey, how's it going? Like he's like, whatevs. So I just thought he was really funny. And I totally agree about Thor being kind of there before. Like he didn't really do much. So he'd be like my very close second as far as a favorite character because of those. It's like in between the movies he did that like his roommate where he would have the roommate write stuff.
I forgot
and
that.
like I never cared about Thor until those, and I thought that was funny. And he's like, take a note. Like it was hilarious, and I think that's really what made him like open the door for him to be funny in this movie, because people love that. So I didn't even see the last Thor movie.
It's
Sorry,
not great. Yeah, I don't think you missed out on a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Korg. With Thor is a close second.
Yeah. Korg's line when he was just like, I tried to lead the rebellion, but we didn't make enough pamphlets. I died laughing. I was just like, this movie is amazing. Yeah.
Right. And that's him in a nutshell. That's Korg. He's just pretty much pure comic relief, which I guess kind of goes back to where I was talking about, where I enjoy the comedy parts of the Marvel movies. So I actually chose Korg as well. He was my favorite character. But it was for all the reasons that Meg said. And, he's pretty much exactly the comic relief that the movie needs. And he's all one-liners, which are perfect. And every one-liner he delivers is perfect, it makes sense because he's played by Waititi. So he gave himself all the good lines. So it was pretty selfish. But it was perfect, and everything was delivered right on time, and it was a really good character. As far as I'll go with the second one as well. I think Hulk, because of the scene with the where they're fighting in the ring, I thought that he was great. But it was weird because he was like the comedic relief as well. And I thought there was like a different side of Hulk, where Hulk's like this big burly, like the huge guy that just smashes things. But he was pretty good as a comic relief, which I thought was an interesting turn. But I thought it was also it was good because it worked. Just because I found myself laughing a couple times at Hulk, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, for sure. It was also really funny that like you can finally see the Hulk looking like Mark Ruffalo. even when he's like hulked out. So that was
That's
fun.
true. He was Mark Ruffalo a bunch in the film, which was good.
I do have to admit though, I didn't see Age of Ultron before I saw this movie, so it was a little odd. And then after the movie ended, my roommate and I went back and we watched Age of Ultron, and I was just like, okay, that explains a lot why he was in the ship, that message, everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that was bad timing on my part. But, yeah,
that's right. But also that they the access code to the ship was also another comedic part, which I thought was good.
Yeah, it's like strongest Avenger is not Thor, it's Hulk. I mean, yeah, and then
yeah.
Oh,
Right.
okay, yeah. I remember. Oh, Thor.
Oh,
He's the hottest one. I mean, that counts, right?
It does a lot. Yeah, even though I always have a soft spot for Mark Ruffalo because 13 going on 30 was very impressionable.
Oh, yeah. And he's from my hometown where I live.
Oh my God, what? Really?
He's from Kenosha.
Ooh, nice.
Shout out, K-Town.
Okay, so we'll talk about our least favorite character now. So it was a little bit it kind of broke my heart to say this, but it was definitely Scourge. I love Carl Urban. And it was weird it was kind of a pointless character. Like he was kind of like the dummy who just like mindlessly followed Hela because he was like terrified. And at the very end, he just had like this weird redemptive arc that was a little bit unbelievable. Also, it's Judge fucking Dredd, and you haven't played this kind of character. I'm just like, no, I don't know. So I had like a lot of issues with that. It was
not buying it.
Yeah, I don't know. What about you guys?
It was he tried to like redeem himself at the end though, where he tried to save. Well, I guess he did save a bunch of people, but so he tried to like redeem himself at the end. But you're right, he was like a sad puppy for most of the movie.
Yeah, he was just very obviously supposed to be like the yes man to Hela, and it was, I don't know. Maybe they could have done someone else. I don't know. Yeah. Carl Urban, like Dr. Bones and Judge Dredd, and you haven't played such a thankless character. I think that was what was most upsetting. I was like, ah.
Yeah.
I think my least favorite character was Odin. He just like as a character pisses me off. He's kind of an asshole. Like the whole backstory with Hela, like you want to hate her and you should hate her. Then you find out like what her dad did, and you're like, fuck that dude. I'm on your team. Like I don't care if you're actually terrible and evil and killing everyone. Like she's kind of right. Like he just banished her because he's like done with her. I don't know. The whole Odin. I'm kind of glad he died. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
You're actually right about that's actually a better answer than the answer that I have. But yeah, so I actually agree with you on Odin. He's pretty terrible. As far as he's like this comic book hero character type of guy, and he's like just like an absent father. It's like a Disney movie more than it was like which I guess Marvel is a Disney movie now, but
they're all Disney movies. Everything.
Yeah, that's right. Everything's
a Disney movie.
Everything is a Disney movie. Yeah. A lot more if it was a Disney movie. But I agree with you that it's just like an absent father thing, which was crappy. So mine, it's not necessarily least favorite because it wasn't a bad character, but I had such high expectations when I was watching trailers and hearing all the buzz about Grandmaster and Jeff Goldblum as Grandmaster. I thought he was good when he was on, but I guess I just expected more because I didn't think all of his lines really landed. Maybe I wanted to see him a little bit more in the movie as well, but I don't know. I guess my expectations were just too high. So when I think about like least favorite things as far as like being a letdown, I think that I would put Grandmaster in that category, just because the expectations were too high probably on my part. But
yeah, for sure. It was definitely Jeff Goldblum playing Jeff Goldblum.
That's exactly what it was. It was the Apartments.com commercial, but he was running a whole world.
Guys, he had a blue thing on his face. It was clearly different.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Yeah. That's really interesting too. He was just and then the fact that one of the ending scenes was him getting out of the his spaceship, I was just like, oh, they wasted that.
Right. That didn't. Yeah. I mean, it didn't totally land either. And I thought it could have been a longer scene, but I don't know. I guess he was like supposed to be one of the comic relief guys as well in the essence of Korg or Hulk at some points, but I just thought that his stuff didn't really land as much as the other stuff did.
See,
You know,
I'm team Jeff all the way. Like,
Yeah, he's wonderful.
I didn't even care what he did or how he did it. Honestly, like just that he was there. Anytime he was in a shot, I was like, Jeff. Like, talk about dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. What is it? Someone was saying.
Oh, that's my dog.
Hey, dog.
Hey, what's up, baby? Yeah.
I can
Very
mute
strong
myself while he
opinions
barks.
about Jeff Goldblum
Yeah,
all
see,
around in that house.
he agrees with me. See, that's the problem.
I read somewhere that Jeff Goldblum improvised like 90% of his lines or whatever. Like he was just told to go with it. So that might have been part of it too. Yeah. But also, I don't know. This was, I think, the Marvel movie that I went into least prepared. So like I didn't realize that it was Jeff Goldblum playing Grandmaster. I didn't realize that Matt Damon would have a weird cameo playing
That was awesome.
Loki in the play. Yeah. That was so random. That entire
he's
scene.
not even credited, which is perfect. Like he's not even in IMDb. He's not credited at all. So it's perfect.
No. Oh my god.
About that.
Yeah. It's just so, also I'm still so angry. I didn't realize it was Luke Hemsworth playing the Thor in the play. I was like, what? How did I
He
miss
kind of looked more like Thor than Thor did in that movie. He was like OG Thor. I love that. There's so many Hemsworths.
They're all so broken. Why?
Yeah.
No. Okay. All right. So let's go back to favorite parts. Favorite scene. Honestly, the entire movie was so good. There were so many favorite scenes within that. I think starting from the beginning when Thor is wrapped up in the chains and
he's like, hang on.
And then when the bad Surtur, is that how you pronounce his name? Surtur, when he was like giving his like badass like villain speech, he's just like, wait, I don't see you. Hold on, let me circle back around.
I'm not doing this on purpose, I promise. Oh, that was good.
Yeah, see what Titi's good at that kind of stuff. Like that's his kind of comedy. Where like if you've seen What Happens in the Shadows, it's a parody vampire werewolf movie, and it's exactly that. Like all the comedy is delivered just like that, and it's perfect. It's just all dry and perfectly delivered humor, which is perfect.
Yeah,
and like a few beats too long. Like, and that's what makes it funnier. It's like it should have stopped, and it keeps going.
Yeah,
I love that.
I read the IMDb fun fact trivia or whatever that when Korg was giving the trident kind of thing, and he was just like, it's not going to be very good unless it's like three vampires standing very close. I heard that was a nod to the In the Shadows movie. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, that's kind of So it's good that he was able to do all that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Let's see other ones. Okay, I love gladiator stuff. So the fact that they had a gladiatorial fight was amazing. Bruce Banner wearing Tony Stark's clothes, and he's just like, why am I in this like skinny jeans and graphic tee was funny. Hela destroying the mural on the top, and her just going like putting this happy facade over it is like a huge disservice. That was awesome. Yeah, there's a lot. I can go on and on.
There's a lot.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. Yeah. I
like when it's like the big climax at the end, and like Hulk's like, "Don't worry, I'm coming," and he jumps and he just splats and he just lays there. I was like, "Oh my god, that is like the best thing you could have done with this scene." Like, I don't like super laugh out loud in movies because you're with other people. Like, I was like obnoxious levels of laughing.
That's right.
Because like I didn't expect that to happen. I expected him to turn like he would in like an Avengers movie, and he was just like boom boom. It's hilarious. And then so that was like my favorite like funny scene. Also everything that Valkyrie did being like wasted. I was like, finally a woman I can relate to on my screen. She's like high functioning heavy drinker. Not that I am, Mom, if you're watching.
Yeah, but she's like, you have until the end of this bottle to like convince me. She's just like Karen Walker, and I'm like, all right, you're amazing.
Yeah. And then I think best scene of the whole movie, and I had to like stop myself from violently shaking my husband because I was so excited when like the immigrant song starts playing and Thor's like gonna go do shit, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And like,
did they do it twice? Was it the immigrant song in the beginning too, or was it a different
I think
song?
so, but it wasn't like as like
right, it was a lot cooler at the end. Yeah,
But yeah, I was like, so, because it's one I walked down the aisle to a Led Zeppelin song. So like, love the band.
Yeah.
And then like, it was just so like perfect and supercharged. And like, even with all the comedy in the movie, like that moment made it such a superhero moment and like really made Thor super badass and like, not just like a chuckle. He was like,
that's true. Yeah. Like, yeah, there was a lot of like comedy throughout, and then they pulled it together at the end and made it into like more of there's like a Marvel movie feel to it, where he's like a superhero whooping ass and all that stuff. That was cool.
All like the lightning, and I was like, I forgot that was a thing he had. It was like, he's God of Thunder. It's just God of beautiful hair, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Mine was the gladiator battle scene, specifically where he celebrates as soon as Hulk comes out of the door. He goes, yes, because he knows who he is. So he doesn't. He thinks he's not going to have to fight him, and then Hulk has no idea who he is, and he just starts whooping Thor's ass, which I thought was really funny. And then like it had like you were talking about, Meg, with at the end where it was badass, even though the movie was funny, where like it starts out funny, and then that scene specifically is like a microcosm of it, where it starts funny and it has like funny lines throughout it, but also there's a pretty cool fight scene within the middle of it, because they actually start to fight, and so the effects are good there. And then it cuts to Loki, who's really nervous because now he knows that Hulk and Thor are both in the same spot. And he knows that he shouldn't be there, so he's trying to leave at the same time. I just thought the whole scene was done really well, and kind of brought together all the elements and made it a quality scene.
For sure, yeah. I know that because I kind of rolled my eyes when I heard that Loki was going to be back, because I'm a little bit tired of Loki. It's just like, all right, we get it. He's Thor's weakness, and he's like silver tongue and everything. But I thought he was used very well here. When he freaked out when he saw Hulk, he's just like, I need to get off this planet. Get me off. Yeah.
There's too many people that like 1 out of every 4 people I ask who like Marvel movies, their favorite character is Loki. So he's never going anywhere. Like he's just too liked. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I like him, but
yeah.
you kind of always know he's gonna betray him, and like you kind of expect it. But like their dynamic is great, where it's like, but like we could be awesome brothers, and we could be like the Winchesters, and but you know, they just never get to that level. So it's like always like they climb up, but they fall down no matter what.
Right. And I assume that's all they do in like the comic books. Like I assume that's straight from the comic books, because it's at this point it's really predictable, where it's like, hey, they're going to be really cool, and then Loki's going to betray him, and then Thor's going to figure it out, and Loki's not going to die, but at the same time he's not really that good of a guy, but then he'll turn into a good guy. It's like they do the same thing every single time he's in a movie, which is like 5 movies at this point. But I mean, people continue to love what he is, and I guess they're dynamic, so he's not.
It would have been really cool to see Loki take on that like self-sacrifice role.
Yes.
That dude
which he did.
What's his name?
Which he did in one of the old movies, but he didn't die. He still came back to life. So I mean, they've even done that, and he's still alive. So I mean, they're just not going to pull. I think it's more Hiddleston than it is Loki the character. People just love him too much.
Definitely, for sure. That's a huge play in it. Yeah, I do have to say though that, like I said previously, how I liked Thor in like fanfic and stuff a lot better. I love Loki in fanfic so much better, but it's Hiddleston that makes him bearable in the movies.
His hair just bugs me.
Oh my God. Everyone was saying there's so many memes of that he looks like the director of The Room in this movie, because it's just like,
a little bit. Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God, why did you say that?
Oh, but I did love the Loki play. That is like peak Loki perfection. Like he's just like, hang on, hold up, let's just celebrate me for a minute. And we're gonna cast Matt Damon as me. Like that was perfect. And he's just like eating grapes. He's like, whatever.
And that's how you could tell. Like you could tell that Loki was morphed, I guess is the word, as Odin before it, because the play was so Loki heavy, and it's like Loki saves the day, and you're like, oh, that's actually Loki as Odin.
Yeah. And it's a lot, because that's the only version of Odin that I liked. And I was just like, something's off. And then I was like, yes, it's not him at all.
Right.
Oh God. I just hate Odin so much. He's such a horrible father. And he's just so mean. And anytime him being like, in the field or whatever, and just being like, "This is your time to shine. This is where I die." I'm just like, go away. We don't
But
need
just
her.
like die.
Yeah.
I don't think gaslighting. No.
But I did enjoy his eye patch.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fun.
That reminds
Which
me. We
Thor
need to
now
talk
has.
about Thor's single eye.
Is that gonna stay like through all the movies? Fun. I feel like if you're God, you can be just like, but now I have an eye. Like Loki can do all that stuff. Can he like? Can Thor do things?
I don't know. Maybe just wear a patch.
Yeah, maybe he can make it. He can make it shoot lightning, but other than that, I don't think he can.
Just like have a little
much,
hole
but-
so he can get his little thunder power out there, lightning
It's
power.
like a more controlled lightning shot, just like
Right?
right at him.
Yeah, it's like Cyclops a little bit, but
That's
yeah.
right. That's right.
These
Yeah.
guys.
That's right.
But yeah, let's see. Okay, so let's talk about, I don't think we've talked about least favorite scene, right? No?
Right.
Right, okay. All right, so it was very difficult to choose a least favorite scene because the entire movie and the soundtrack was so good. It was so good. I love anything 80s, and I was like, oh, it's Technicolor, it's great. But I think if I had to choose, and I know that Steve, you're going to mention it later, but the Doctor Strange scene was weird. Also, mostly because I didn't watch Doctor Strange, and I have no interest in watching Doctor Strange. I think the funniest thing was when Thor was getting his umbrella / like Mjolnir back and just breaking everything. That made it fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, for me, that was forced. Like when I talk about how the Grandmaster didn't exactly land, I thought that they put Doctor Strange in the movie just to say, hey, there's Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Remember him? He was in all these Marvel movies too. So I don't know. I assume it has, like, they want to try to build a connection toward the future, like toward future movies between the characters. But it just felt, I mean, it felt really, really forced for Benedict Cumberbatch to be in a movie for 3.5 minutes, and all he does is torture Loki and sends them to that.
And then like open things.
Yeah, they open the cliff area. So, I mean, how they got there, it ended up being an important scene once they got there. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a comic book reference, or maybe it's some kind of reference that I just didn't get because I don't really read the comic books. So if that happens in the comic books, then that's fine. But other than that, it just felt really forced to have an actor who's a more famous actor than any of the actors in the movie, and then have him be in the movie for 3.5 minutes and kind of just not really do much of anything in consequence to the movie.
I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't really get down with the whole Doctor Strange thing. I didn't see the movie because the preview made me nauseous, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I
The
can't
movie's
even, like,
much
look
more
at
of
that.
that.
Yeah, I was like, "There's just no freaking way I can watch that movie." So I just kind of like read what it was about, so I could, if I needed to know any of that information,
Mhm.
I would. But yeah, it just kind of think of Thor, and you think of like such a different aspect of the Marvel universe versus like what I sort of know about Doctor Strange. And even though they have like this like magic, like mystical thing in common, it was just like it's not two people you would put together in your head. Like any other
Yeah.
Marvel character would have gone really well with those two and like been really snarky and fun. And he was just kind of stuffy. And like he did his purpose, which was eliminate, travel time.
Right.
So
yeah, I guess that's what it was.
that
Yeah.
was fine. I guess like without seeing that movie, and I guess, not having seen that movie, it might have been great. It might have been like the coolest thing ever. Couldn't watch
Steve's like,
it.
no.
No, it's not. I just like, I don't know. I just didn't really get into it at that point. So like, it was kind of early in the movie too. So that was good because then we could move on. But
Yeah. I think
just
they
didn't
knew
really
it too.
care.
Like at that point, they're like, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. It might have been a contract thing. There was something weird and it was just off. Like, I don't know if Benedict Cumberbatch is like obligated to be in those movies like that. Cause I mean, it probably took half a day to film that. So I don't know, but
Yeah.
like you said, I guess, I mean, it was early in the movie, so that was good. So, and I assume that hopefully that it creates some kind of connection with the two characters so that it had some kind of relevance to it. But
Right? Like it better do.
yeah, right.
Yeah. But and then I have another least favorite scene. It's when Hela came blazing into Asgard and then immediately killed Zachary Levi. I'm just like, you just killed Flynn Rider. I don't know why you did that.
How could you?
Yeah. But that was also another thing. It's like the Brothers 3, it's they were on screen for a very, very short time too. And then they never explained why Sif wasn't on there. Maybe they did. Maybe it was like a throwaway thing, but it just felt really, really weird. I think another part of it, like the whole disconnect thing, how it doesn't really serve a purpose beyond just being there. But that was weird.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I kind of took it as like another like comedy aspect where Hela's also showing her power and all that, but it was also like, hey, look how fast I can kill this guy that everybody knows.
Mhm. Yeah, breaks my heart. Breaks my
Yeah,
heart.
that's right.
Mhm.
Oh, I think
Okay.
that Lady Sif, like, not in the movie, but like it was a contract thing with her, a filming thing with her current show.
Yes, blind
Was
spot or
Yeah, the tattoo one, the tattoo show. Yeah, we cover it. It's either Blind Spot or no. Blacklist is the so it's Blind
Blacklist
Spot.
is James Stewart. Yeah.
Spader.
Okay,
I can't think of
Meg,
any
what
other
was
bad
your
scenes, so I can't.
what?
think of any. I was just brainstorming if I had any other least favorite scenes, and I don't. I love the movie. So
Mhm.
sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna ask if you had one. Yeah.
It really was just the Doctor Strange thing. Like I just couldn't get into it. Um, it just felt off, and it didn't feel like it fit, and kind of pulled me away from the it all. That's not a saying. I just made that up.
No, it's good.
It just didn't feel like the same universe, even though obviously we know it's all connected. Like it would have made more sense to me if like some like the Defenders walked by. Like they're all in the same city. They're just like in the background doing shit. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would have been better.
That would have been so good. Oh my God.
Like Iron Fist probably could have done something and thrown him somewhere, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. He's got something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that would have worked for me. It just didn't feel as there's not like a groove with the rest of it.
I
I don't know.
agree. Yeah, I'm with
Not
you.
to like trash talk Doctor Strange. I'm sure he's very nice.
Yeah, seems like an okay guy. Yeah. Actually, he's not. He's not really an okay guy, but he turns into an okay guy. But, yeah.
But yeah, that I think that would be mine. Just that.
Mhm. Yeah. Steve, do you have anything more to elaborate about Doctor Strange?
Nope, not really. Especially because we're not talking so nice about him. But I thought his actual movie was okay. It wasn't like the best movie or anything like that, but I made a point to see it just because I see all of them. But, yeah, not too much.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I guess something I had to ask you too, though, is I had it kind of felt like the Hela storyline was very distinct from like the goofy Thor
That's a good point.
Hulk one. Yeah. So what do you guys think?
I really liked Hela, but she felt like a different movie. Like it was just so like slapsticky over here with Thor and like in a good way because I loved that. And then you go back to Hela and it's like, oh yeah, we're serious. Let's be
Right.
serious. But like she had a couple moments where like she was a little bit funny, like a little more dry. I just loved how badass she was, where she's like, wow, like I want that power. Or like, and here's my badass headdress.
Yeah.
And like I'm gonna go get things done. Like I liked her in that aspect where she had a mission and she knew what she wanted to do, and she's like, I don't really have time to like joke around with you a-holes. And that's kind of what she did, but it was such a distinction between like the vibe going on in the Thor storyline and hers, and for so long it felt like completely disconnected, which it should have because it was completely opposite of what Thor was doing and what she was doing. But then when it did come together, it really did work because then you kind of saw like everything that she was building towards. And like Thor, having been with Loki and like kind of explaining Loki to everyone and kind of brushing him off, you could kind of see where he was like, oh, but that's like my sister. So even though she sucks, like my brother sucks too, and my dad's an asshole. So like he kind of had like this soft spot thing for all of them. So I think in that respect, having Loki in the movie made like the whole Hela Thor dynamic a little better because you could kind of see like how he feels about his brother, even though his brother's an ass, is like why he didn't super hate Hela, but like had to stop her anyway. And like
Right.
he did that with Loki. Like when Loki was doing shit he shouldn't be doing, even though he loved him and he knew that, he would shut him down. So like it was kind of like a good sort of parallel to see how he reacts with like his one sibling who you already know and then the one that you don't. So I thought that was good. And side note, when he had to check to see if it was real Loki, I forgot about that. And he would just like throw shit at him.
Yes, the rocks through him. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Love that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that it was such a different vibe and it worked because then the whole movie wasn't super silly. But when it came together, that's when Thor became a little more serious and like kind of it just all worked really well. And I think the flow of it worked really well. And the parallels worked really well because of the whole keeping Loki around to show how he feels about his siblings.
Yeah, I think you made a good point that it almost felt necessary to have Hela be the way that she was, just because the movie would have been a straight comedy without her. Like every scene that she wasn't in had comedy aspects in it, if not every single one, then the vast majority of them. So she felt very necessary in her character and the way that she was being, just because of the way that the rest of the movie was. And I guess I thought it was good because it made a distinct villain, so to speak. Like you could tell every time she was on screen that the tone of the film got darker. So it almost made her a better villain in that sense, because she was the one being serious while everybody else was kind of throwing jokes around and being lighthearted. But you could tell that she was dead ass serious about taking over Ragnarok, taking over the world type of thing, where everybody else was making jokes and such like that. So I thought it kind of almost everybody else, the way that they were acting compared and meshed with the way that she was acting. I thought that kind of made her a better villain.
Yeah, and it totally made you believe why, you understand why she was just like, we need to go back to what it was before, because it really was like she was like the only adult in the room, and there are these like kids just like running around and like making lives awful for each other, but in a more prankster kind of way than in like destruction kind of way, which thank God that we don't have her instead of like Thor and like Loki and even Odin. But yeah, I think it was a lot of it was I think Meg, you touched upon it before, but it's like you understand why Hela was the way she is, because Odin completely propped her up to be like this harbinger of destruction, and like the goddess of death even is her name. And she must have just been like, what have we fallen to? What have we become? But yeah, it was a very different kind of movie, but it was good. She was terrifying in every way. I saw this like really funny meme, I think, or maybe it was like a tweet or something, but they didn't know if they wanted Hela to like kill them or like seduce them or something. I was just like, yes. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Story of Cate Blanchett.
Yeah. Oh my God. I still can't believe that was her in the role. Like, it was insane. Oh. No.
I love that.
She was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So we went over favorite things, least favorite things, characters, scenes, everything. Were there anything else you kind of want to like talk about the movie? What you thought?
Oh, can we talk about Valkyrie?
Oh yes.
I've named Judy because she deserves a name.
I know.
So her name's Judy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like trying to figure that out the whole movie. I'm like, did they say it and I missed it? Because like she is a Valkyrie, which is like that order. Which side note, we need that movie. Like, oh my God,
Valkyrie the Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like she's just like, hi, I'm Valkyrie. I'm part of the Valkyrie. Like, Judy, just call her something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked her, and I liked that she wasn't like such a cardboard cutout of every other like Marvel Universe woman who's just kind of like, I'm over here, I have some weird moral issue, and I don't want to talk about it because I'm mysterious. She was just like, fuck you, I'm gonna get drunk because had some shitty things go down, and like I like that, and I like that they didn't push like this romance down our throat either.
Yes.
Like she wasn't just there to make out with Thor, which would have been okay, but you know, people kissing is always great.
What's the deal with Natalie Portman? Did I miss it?
Yeah, did you see what right before they go to Doctor Strange's house? They're like the fans that come there. They're like, sorry that Jane broke up with you.
Oh,
like,
that's right.
Almost like a Teen Beat situation, which I was fine with that too. I love Natalie Portman, but like, I don't know, she's the Doctor Strange of women in the MCU. Like, just get out of here and go back to doing other things. But I loved Judy Valkyrie, and I think that she was such a different lady in the MCU. Like, we never get to see that like a flawed but badass, doesn't really need saving woman. In those kinds of movies, it's always like the damsel, or like, I'm too rough to have emotion, I will not blink at you. Like, she was broken and she was sad and also just a badass like warrior chick. and I loved it.
Yeah, they do a little bit of that with Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy, but Valkyrie or Judy she's like the next level of it. Like you're right. And I think that, there's Judy. Yeah. They do an okay job with Marvel as far as strong women characters go. And obviously, is it Captain Marvel? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So obviously that's going to extend even further where as a woman gets her own movie, but they haven't done as well, I don't think, as they could, having strong women characters, where they started with Gamora and then certainly Valkyrie and even Hela in this movie. So this movie has two strong women characters, which I think is good to not only from a marketing perspective to open up to women and wanting to see the movies as well, but it's in 2017, for better or worse, people like these are role models because they get them through movies and TV and stuff like that as well. So being able to see strong women characters in a world that's mainly dominated by men I think it's a positive step for Marvel as well. And I think Valkyrie was actually in ways stronger than Hela was during the movie, just because, like you said, she was broken and has seen adversity and things like that, but was able to kind of rise up and find her old form, which was good.
Right, and she didn't let her past dictate everything about her like Hela.
Exactly.
Like Hela was just like riding pure emotion. Like Valkyrie was able to like assess the situation and decide what she wanted to do, even with her like damaged past and all that. And like also love that it wasn't just all tits and ass with the women, which as a comic fan, a movie fan, TV show fan, like so often all of those movies are just like visual for the women. Jasmine, are you going on an adventure?
No, the door was open and you could hear like everything. I was like, ah!
It was like Dr.
She's
Strange.
gone.
Ah!
Yeah.
I liked that Valkyrie was covered but like also so raw and open with like her past and her emotions, and like it's a story I want to know more about, just like Hela's, but because she was able to take all of that pain and use it instead of just like, well, I'm gonna burn shit down because you wronged me, even though I think she did want to do that too.
That's true. Yeah. Well, then like the offline we were talking about Justice League as well, where like the opposite would be DC. Apparently, there's some kind of upskirt shot on Wonder Woman. Is that I don't know if that's true or not, but
I sent my husband
kind of
to
the opposite in that sense. Yeah.
I was like, you need to report back. Like, I don't want to see it if they're gonna ruin Wonder Woman with the male gaze. Sorry.
That's
great. I can't do it. Like they did so much good with that movie in this type of universe, like in DC, Marvel, if you lump them together, like it's something that needed to be done with Wonder Woman, and I like that it's now being carried forward in Marvel movies as well, where like Gamora wasn't really overly sexualized, but she was definitely painted as a love interest early on in those movies in the Guardians.
That's true. Yep.
So like in this movie, it felt very Wonder Woman influenced, where it was like, oh, like women are people in superhero movies. Who shock. And they let her have a story and let her be a person with pain and emotion and, her ass cheeks covered.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is good.
I think even her final outfit has some sort of like capey thing, right? So like she was something. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think because I like what you guys were all saying, and it's like because obviously before we had Valkyrie or whatever in MCU, we always had Natasha, but she was very much that closed off, mysterious, don't talk about her past at all. And when she did get vulnerable, it was either to make Loki think that he was winning, or to kind of comfort Bruce whenever he was being like what good can I do in this world? So her vulnerability always served a purpose, and like for the benefit of others, which is so sad.
She felt more seductive too. Like you say, when she gets vulnerable, it's almost in a seductive sense. Maybe Scarlett Johansson can't be non-seductive, but that's just the way that she came off to me.
For sure. So it was really good because it's like obviously anyone who's looking to pair Thor and Valkyrie together, they have like they can like pull bits and pieces out of it, but like she wasn't painted as some sort of figure at all. She was more, and I loved how close she was with Hulk and how Hulk like kind of found comfort in her, and I was just like, oh, it's good.
Agreed. I liked that. I liked their relationship, and they had like that. It wasn't the same as like what's her name? Black Widow.
Oh, Natasha, yeah.
Natasha. So like with that, you could tell like they were very much pushing that towards a romance. With Valkyrie, it was like, we're stuck here. It sucks. Like, let's be pals. We'll get through this together. Let's break stuff because it's therapeutic. Like, I liked that. That was good.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know why I thought of it right now, but also the fact that Thor apparently saw Hulk's dick and just like he was just like, I cannot get that out of my brain. Yeah. I don't know.
That was awesome.
So random.
But like, who did not mentally picture that in the movie theater? Like, you did, and that's what they wanted you to do, and then you can't like unsee it in your mind.
I figured it out.
That was great.
Yeah, it's so good. And I thought it was very interesting that in a movie that I think Mark Ruffalo was the Hulk for, if not 75, like maybe like 80% of the movie or something, but he was the most emotional and just like, we keep saying the word vulnerable, but like, because in like other, especially I guess in the other Avengers movies, like Hulk is like just like a blip. You see him like flying around. You don't really get to know him as a character.
Smashing things.
So, yeah. So I really liked it. I know that a lot of people had touched upon that they would not have thought to pair Thor and Hulk together as like superheroes who would be in a movie together alone. But I mean, I liked it. It was good. It was unexpected, but it was really good.
Well, they're in Planet Hulk together, right? That TV show. It's a comic book, like series of comic books, but like Planet Hulk is a thing. My husband tells me all of these things. And there's a TV show on Netflix or Hulu or something, and it's a cartoon, but it's Thor's in it. Like those two are paired in the universe outside of this movie.
I thought that was a good point you made too about where he's mostly Hulk, but he makes the most impact as Bruce Banner. So it's kind of, I guess, says something about the development, like you said, of his character, because it's usually just fly around, smash and mash, but he had a little bit of a character development, which was good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's such a good movie.
It was.
I want to watch it right now.
Yeah, same. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was definitely not this. But I was like completely blown away, and this was absolutely necessary, and it's good. Yeah.
I'm glad they let him be funny. Like
Right.
they did that little side piece with that sounded very sexual. It's not. The not a commercial, but like that little thing that they did with his roommate, and like they saw how funny he could be and how people reacted, and they're just like, whatever, Thor can be funny, like he can be hot AF and funny and strong, and they did it, and it worked, and it was funny and heartwarming, and like stop myself from violently shaking my husband because it just like pumped you up. I was like, oh my God. Like it was just a great movie.
And it was completely intentional. Like they knew exactly the route they were going, because they chose Waititi as a straight comedy director. Like obviously he's able to do movies like this because he pulled this one off with a lot of success. But I mean, Waititi is all comedy, and like he just brought that over to. They didn't try to hamper him at all, and they didn't say, hey, but this is still a Marvel movie. They said, hey, you're a funny guy, make a Marvel movie, but make a comedy first, and then put Marvel in it. So they definitely took a shot with that. And I guess maybe they saw that Deadpool and Guardians had so much success, so now they know, okay, well, this is going to work. So we're able to kind of do this comedy tone, but also have a Marvel movie in the background. And I mean, good for them for taking a shot with it, just because obviously Thor hasn't been funny like this before. So I thought it was a bold move, but it worked, which is good.
It should be fun. It should be a fun escape from all of the BS. And I feel like that's where the DCU is going wrong. Like it had a little bit of comedy in Wonder Woman, and it was a little lighter, but like, oh my God, Arrow, like all the stuff on, the DC TV stuff, it's just Flash aside, which that gets pretty heavy too. It's just so like, oh, we have to like drag you down and like show you the grit and grossness of the world. But it's like our world's kind of gritty and gross right now. Like I want to go and see a movie that is the hero wins and he down all of his enemies, and like I love that. I love that it was fun, and it was still like this really strong battle at the end, but also like so fucking funny. Like,
Right.
it doesn't have to be, Martha. Like, it can be funny and powerful all at the same time.
Yeah, I think
and vulnerable.
I think DC's kind of downfall was that the most successful comic book movies ever created is the Christopher Nolan Batman series, which is dark. So that was kind of that wasn't a trend, where now DC has turned it into a trend where everything's dark, where as Marvel's gone on the lighter side, and it just turns out that just more people just prefer it. So like we're just in a world where Marvel's light and DC's dark, and people just don't want the dark right now. So Marvel's
But
figured
Superman, they need to give Superman the same treatment that they gave Thor. Like, yes, you could make Thor dark and broody because like all of the stuff with Odin, like it's fucked up.
Yep.
But they continue to like make him so dark and broody that it's just like, if you just like devote some pickup time after those movies so that you're not like in a deep dark hole. Whereas like these movies, like you walk out of the theater and you're like, yes, like I can do things. And I think that if they gave the same focus and attention and like lightheartedness like to Superman in those movies, like make a Superman movie where he's not like being a Batman.
Yeah.
It'd be great. And I think that could really flip things around for them.
Yeah.
Just hire us, DC.
Right? Yeah, all of us. Yeah. It's just like inherently Superman and Thor are very similar. They're both aliens from a different planet who just want to do good and like save the world and stuff. And so that's like a really good point that they should embrace the whole odd, surreal factor of it instead of making him into a Batman, because we've already got a Batman. It's like right there. They fight together all the time. So it's like, yeah.
It would be great to see like a funny Superman movie with the same like, we get it. We get that this is kind of crazy and silly. Like, where like he could be wearing a mustache or like things to like be sillier, and the fact that like people should be able to recognize him. Like they could play into that, like they do with Thor, like that these big scary monsters have him tied up. He's like, oh, wait, hey, hang on, I'm turning around. Into the ridiculousness of it instead of the like dire situation of it, which is what Superman does. It's like, oh, this is so terrible. Like, I think they should give Superman the Thor treatment, and I think that would be amazing. I think that the MCU has really opened the door to all of that stuff and letting superheroes be funny.
Definitely. And like Steve, you made a really good point in the fact that if there hadn't been a Deadpool, if there hadn't been a Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't think we would have gotten a Thor Ragnarok, which is so sad because it's.
No, we would have gotten a Thor Underworld or whatever it was called that I didn't see.
Dark World. It's 180 from this, and not in a good way. I don't know.
Well, this was very fun.
Yeah.
I love Thor.
I love it.
Is there going to be another Thor? Do we know?
Well, he's not done because there's Infinity Wars. So
yeah,
I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to start, because eventually they're going to start taking people out. I don't know if it's going to be killing people off but they're going to there's a new wave of Avengers that have to be developed and created. Yeah. So I don't know if I think Infinity Wars is supposed to be, if not the end, and close to the end for the first wave of Avengers.
Do you think that's where Tony Stark is going to die?
Oh,
because they keep saying he's not going to play. I don't know if like he dies in the comics in the Infinity Wars, but I know a lot of people do.
Well, somebody was supposed to I don't remember if it was Captain America or Iron Man, and somebody was supposed to die in the last Captain America, like he did in the comic book, but they didn't kill him off in the movie. So there was like a small outrage about that, but.
Yeah.
They want him for Infinity Wars, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure.
I think the standalone Thor movies, I think they are done. So now it's just going to be Avengers, right?
They made a bunch of them. I mean, there might be as many Thors as there are Iron Man at this point.
Probably. Yeah.
I think Infinity Wars is going to be awesome. That was Thanos, right? Who popped up?
Yeah.
So pay attention. So then that's the next one that comes out of like all of these movies is the first Infinity Wars, right?
Black Panther's coming.
Yes. Oh my God. I forgot about Black Panther. I'm so excited. Oh,
they had a really cool, the trailer before the Thor movie. I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's gonna be sweet.
Yeah. Oh my God,
I'm excited for that one. And then it's it's the Infinity Wars, and I think there's like multiple Infinity Wars, right?
I think they made it 2 parts.
2, yeah, for sure. And then on IMDb, there's like a unnamed Avengers movie, and I just don't know what that
Ooh,
is.
maybe it's
So.
like Avengers New Class,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, right. Oh,
the newbies.
yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, this is really, really fun. Thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out with us this afternoon, especially since it's Black Friday. And I'm still in a turkey coma from yesterday, so I don't know. But yeah, so before we sign off, I think we should just go around and give our Twitters or any place that we have like a big social media presence. And then we can point everyone to like the Pure Fandom sites and everything. But so my Twitter is Blueberry Jelly. And it's kind of like a mishmash of both my personal and work because I decided not to make a separate work one, which was stupid. So you'll see random like AI stuff and Bitcoin, and then it's just like Steve Rogers. So yeah. Yeah.
My Twitter is at Magbonney, Bonney writer. So all one word, multiple words strung together. And then I'm on Facebook too, but that's more for my book stuff. So if you're interested in my Pure Fandom geeky talks about Teen Wolf too much, it's over at Twitter.
My Twitter is at srichards31. And actually, I mean, all social media is at srichards31. I found a way to consolidate it. But so yeah, I do. I only have one, so it's a lot of sports, but it's also the Pure Fandom geek stuff, movie reviews and such like that. Probably going to do like a like on Monday or something. Maybe I'll do like a recap of all the movies that I've seen, like Q&A style type of thing, where I'll list out the movies that I've seen, and if people have questions about them or want Twitter style reviews of them, then I can give them out and stuff. So that'll be Monday, maybe. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so make sure to check out the rest of the goodies that's on the Pure Fandom YouTube channel. And then our website, which is www.purefandom.com. We've also got a Twitter and an Instagram. The handle for both of them is at pure_fandom. And our Facebook page as well, which is just /BPureFandom. I'll put this all in the bottom part. So it's not like, what are these letters?
Write it down, Kip.
Yeah, but yeah, so this is really fun. Any comments you have, if you agree with us, disagree with us, put it in the comments and we'll respond. And otherwise, if you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, do it now. And if you have, I think I might see it tonight, actually. So yeah.
Going back.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Go Judy Valkyrie.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, have a good one, you guys. Bye.
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 See ya.